So Paolo, should we start?
Yeah, I think so. So the floor is yours for the first part.
Okay, so thank you all for joining. It's an honor to have you all with us. And really, it's another opportunity here to present the collaboration that we at Variance Ascola have had over the several years with Ideare, with Paolo Franceschini, my partner in Europe. And one little anecdote, after 2.5 years of working together without meeting because of COVID, I finally had the opportunity in November to go meet him. And we've had some additional successes recently, leading various consortiums for Horizon and other opportunities. So this is a great time to share with you what we think is something very, very relevant to companies in both countries. So let's move forward. Okay, so just a few words about us. Variance Ascola is a financial consulting firm in Israel, providing a wide variety of financial advisory services. I lead the innovation grant activity in this area, business plans, etc. And Ideare is a boutique consulting firm specializing in EU grant advisory and innovation management, located in Milan, in Italy. So we were able to really bring both the synergies substantial. You see my picture when I was a little younger, more hair, and Paolo still looks the same. But again, we both combine our substantial experience, and we're proud of some of our success stories. And we do have to update this list. But again, if I'm looking at the Asaf, so sends materials down the hallway from you, which we continue to work with, and other a wide variety of companies, from cyber to water to AI, and even to lithium-ion batteries. And we just finished projects in the area of biomaterials. So we really do cover a wide variety, and I'm very proud of our wide spectrum of clients. Next slide, please. Yes, and of course, in the business that we're in, it's good to be able to be successful. And we're very happy that we have around a 50% success rate. We cover a wide variety of opportunities, and therefore we try really, and I think what separates us from other grant advisories is that we provide a holistic approach, where instead of just doing one project, we try to collaborate with the client and really prepare a roadmap of funding opportunities to maximize the chances, because in this world, no one can guarantee 100% success of actually achieving funding. Again, we cover a wide network, both countries, in the continent and other areas. A lot of good connections with senior research centers, including the universities in Israel, universities in Italy, and also research entities throughout Europe. This is one of my favorite slides, what I call the ocean of opportunities. We'll be happy to discuss this in depth with each of you independently, but in a snapshot, what it says is that in our world of innovation grants, you have to take and analyze the R&D activities in your pipeline and map them out on the TRL, technology readiness level spectrum, as you see on top. Most of the calls or in our world are separating between before TRL 6 and above TRL 6, and therefore finding where you are, what your technologies have, and how we can leverage your plan, your R&D activities, and to match them up with the various frameworks, as you see here down on the bottom: Horizon Europe, the RIAs, the IAs, even obviously the EIC Accelerator, which is obviously the most competitive call framework in Europe. And frameworks that are less known in Israel and Europe, they're cascade funding. As a matter of fact, right now we are assisting some clients in a security-related, cyber-related call for 70,000 euro, 80,000 euro for small projects, a half a year, sometimes 12 months in order to achieve funding. These are less known, and therefore the probabilities of success are higher. And we, again, as I said before, take a holistic approach, work with the client, not take money for every single submission, but try to really maximize the chances for the client to receive the big funding and of us to receive the part of that as our success fee. Thank you very much. Right, in the call that we have in front of us, and Paolo, I'm going to soon hand over the baton to Paolo, the Israeli-Italy collaboration framework has two subsections to it. There's an industry grant, which is for companies, and that is run in Israel by the Israeli Innovation Authority. And there is a research grant, which in Israel, at least, is managed by the Ministry of Science. And that is really more focused for research institutes, universities. While we will now focus on the industry grant, which is really for companies, and researchers can join as subcontractors, if they will be more than happy to assist any researchers if there is interest regarding that second framework. Bottom line, just one line before Paolo gets into the details. This call is an opportunity for companies of all sizes and shapes in Israel and Italy to form a collaboration project that fits both of their needs and to move ahead and to achieve funding from the individual countries. Paolo, I think it's all yours now.
May I have one question before Paolo starts? Is it okay?
Sure.
You just said, Josh, that the industry grant is from the Innovation Authority, and
Yes.
the research grant, I missed that part. The research grant is from where?
Ministry of Science.
Ministry of Science. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for the introduction. So the next section will be focused on the main details about the industrial track, let's say, okay? So first of all, this is a collaborative call, but it's not a European project. So there is not a single framework. And so is a result of a combination of two frameworks from Italy and Israel. So we are going to use from both Italy and Israel the local rules for the proposal submission. So let's see which are the rules that are in common among the two projects, the two frameworks, and you will find it in the bottom part of the slide. Okay. So first of all, the two entities should collaborate to create something new. So the TRL that we are addressing is a TRL between 5 and 8. So the purpose is to work with something that, sorry, can you switch off the microphone? I see Luca Calvetti that we can hear you in the background. So the idea will be to work on a collaborative way to create something new. So the sum could be not 2, but 3. So you should create some new product that can be sold then on the market. And this should be reflected by all the part of the proposal. So the partners are required to sign a memorandum of understanding, so a kind of collaboration agreement. And the budget should be balanced, so you should comply with a local regulation, but also the budget should reflect this equal distribution of, let's say, cost, but also of responsibilities. And then the duration is up to 24 months. For what concern the kind of beneficiary, we may have two different kind of regulations from Italy and Israel. For what concern Italy, the proposal should be submitted by an industrial entity that, as a single entity, that is able to carry out R&D activities. In the case that is not able to carry out independently this kind of activity, the industrial entity should partner with a non-industrial entity running this kind of activity, so for research and development. or either the beneficiary could be a research and development entity, I mean a university, or a research center in partnership with an industrial entity. Okay, so it is important that from Italian side, the beneficiary is able to carry out research activity. For what concerns Israel, so the proposal should be submitted by a R&D performing company plus a non-industrial R&D entity as a subcontractor. So this is mandatory from the Israel part.
I just want to clarify, the subcontractor is not required. It can be that the non-industrial R&D entity is not a requirement. That if you want to do it, you can bring in a university, but that is a subcontractor. But the focus, as the highlight is on the R&D performing company, as with all IIA, Israeli Innovation Authority grants.
Okay, so the deadline is the same, but what is changing is the time. So the deadline for both submission is on the 24th of May, and we have the 5 p.m. CET for Italy and 12 a.m. for p.m. for Israel. And also the Israeli part must also submit full application by 24th of May. And also the funding rule are a little bit different between the two framework. So for Italy, the funding is up to 50% of cost, the funding rate, and you may receive maximum 200,000 euro, up to 50% of total project cost. I gave you some explanation. So we will, both partners will define an overall budget framework. And for what concerns the Italian part, the Italian entity can support up to 50% of the overall project cost with a maximum of 200,000 euro for maximum 50% of the cost. Okay. From the Israeli side, the maximum funding rate is 50%, and there is no not a threshold for the maximum recommended funding, but maximum is 500,000 euro for the budget. Okay, so and also the budget could be balanced. Okay, so around we may have something similar to 1 million euro budget cost.
That also, again, just to clarify, the IIA does not state any sums, and they will tell you that there is no limitation. But again, as Paolo had mentioned, since we have to present a balanced budget, so it should be within something that shows relevance to the Italian parameters. And also, it's always best to take money from the IIA in small bites. They obviously have some sort of budget for this called collaboration, and would like to give it to as many winning consortiums as possible. And therefore, this is the figure that I think is recommended. Obviously, it's not chiseled in stone. It could be higher, it could be a little bit lower, but it should be in that ballpark.
I have a question, if it's okay, or questions in the end.
No.
I don't want to interrupt. Okay, so Josh, just for what you said, if I'm working already with the Israeli Innovation and I'm part of the program already, every year, what we do here, is it okay for us still to apply to the cooperation Italy-Israel? So it's either one or another.
No, you recently won a startup funding. Tagide Heznek, I think, if you remember correctly.
That's 2 years ago already. Yeah, for 2 years,
okay.
I'm getting money from them.
Okay, so at the end, there is a limitation about how much funding a company can get per year, or how much total budget can be presented to the IIA every year. So if I remember offhand, we have to check it together, and I'll be happy to have this conversation with you. But if for a specific calendar year, you might have a max of 5 million shekel budget.
$800,000, precisely $800,000. Yes.
And therefore, again, you can have a different call, but you cannot go above that total budget of projects. but this is something I'll be happy to discuss with you. In
Exactly.
detail. Okay.
I don't want to bore everybody. So after that, me and you will take it one-on-one if it's okay with you, or later
yes.
next week. No worries.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, just it is similar also for Italy, because the 200,000 euro are under the de minimis rule. Okay, so this will contribute to your de minimis threshold. You know that you cannot have more than 200,000 euro in 3 consecutive years of this kind of funding. So this is under the de minimis framework. Okay, so let's see which are the areas. So there is a list of topics for which you can propose projects, but you will see that at the end there is also any other area of mutual interest. So these are basically the area that were under the previous version of the Horizon Framework program. So these were more or less the area that were defined for the Horizon 2020 program. So we have medicine, agriculture, application of information technology, environment, water treatment, new energy source, innovation in production process, ICT, space, and the art and health observation. So basically, the area to which you can propose the projects are pretty wide. And
I just you'll forgive me, Paolo.
Yeah.
As I see, I have here 2 Israeli companies. Both are in the construction tech. So therefore, again, you guys are definitely the last. This list of companies, from our experience, is a recommendation. Obviously, any innovation technology is relevant, and also I'm sure, and if we discuss things, we can see how also. I guess your technologies are very varied and separate, but at the end can also either connect very well to some of these vectors, whether it be AI, ICT capabilities, whether it could be environmental. So all those areas eventually fit in, but that's why the last line is very important, because it's the ultimate catch-all. And as long as we are able to show and present and convince of the serious innovation, technological innovation, which you guys know very well, you both have.
Okay, so which is the content of the proposal? So we have a part where we are going to provide main information about the title, so more generic information, but the core part is the part 2, so the project outline. So we will need to provide a description of the project, maximum 3 pages. Then the technological development envisaged, so 1 page, and market and application. Then we will need to provide also the profile of the main Italian and Israeli participant. And we may add, so this is the reason why you don't find it section 5 and 6, we may add further additional partners from both sides. And then for sure, we need to provide also additional information for what concerns, for example, the link to other funding program, and for sure the budget at the end. So we will need to provide an overall budget of the proposal and also the details for each of the partners. And so these are the cost categories. So personnel, these are pretty general. So equipment, sub-equipment and materials, subcontractor, I mean consultants, travels, and indirect costs, I mean overheads. These can be calculated. Yeah.
So again, these are some of the, obviously as Paolo said in the beginning, each country will have slightly different ones. In Israel, the overhead is 20% automatically, but also there's much more serious limitations on the amount of salaries per personnel, as whoever has done an IIA submission knows from their budget exactly what the frameworks. But so that is again part of the challenge here, where you have the 2 partners living in separate environments, but putting it together.
Yeah, for sure. And then how the proposal is evaluated. This is really important, because when you write a grant proposal, you need also to consider how it will be evaluated. So first of all, the novelty of the project will be considered. So it should be something pretty innovative. So we saw that at the beginning of the presentation, that the TRL required is between 5 and 7. So is something that could be pretty new. And also the qualification of applicants will be considered. So the profile of both applicants and also the relevance of common activities. So you should demonstrate that there is an added value in carrying out this kind of activities altogether. So you will need to provide, to explain that your expertise are complementary. So it is not a matter of two parallel projects, but it's a single project with two partners, each one executing complementary activities. And so for sure, also an assessment of the economic results. And also you should link with the main strategic objectives of industrial R&D programs for both Italy and Israeli governments. And then for sure, you should ask the right money. Right money means not so much, but also not so low money, because you have to ask the right money that will allow you to implement the project. And also you should demonstrate that each partner is owning the right resource to carry out the project activity. Okay, so the technical part has ended. So now the floor is open to you. We also prepared, in the case that you would like to share some project idea, matchmaking questionnaire that I will share you in a while in the chat, and also will send you via email immediately after the webinar. And you are not required to provide us with some really strategic information. It is important for us to collect, in the case that you are interested in establishing collaboration activities from both sides. So we should know which are the area of activities for which you would like to establish a collaboration, if you have a project idea and a project area, and the type of collaboration that you are looking for. So we will not share this kind of information without your permission, but this will be a way to try to create collaboration opportunities among Israeli and Italian companies. Okay, so now if you have any kind of question, remarks, the floor is yours. Meanwhile, I am going to share the link to the questionnaire.
Well, while you're thinking of your questions, I just want to add a note or another note or two. And as Paolo and I were discussing, from our experience, the challenge, as many of you, I know some of you and some obviously, but as many of you or all of you are involved in technological innovation development, the issue here is not the fact that you have, and I take that as granted, innovative technology. The issue now is utilizing the time that we have, and it's not a lot of time. We're now in the beginning of April, and the submission is towards the end of May, and there's Easter and Passover in the middle, etc., to identify a partner and to bang out with him an R&D project that is really worthwhile. And I just can't stress more enough, as what Paolo had said before, it's not enough to find some guy to try out your technology. They want to see 1 + 1 = 3. They want to see that there's a collaboration, and that the collaboration between the two sides really brings additional value and synergy. And therefore, that is requiring you to think, what type of partner would you need that would embellish and make your system even stronger, maybe things that you wanted to do and you have not yet done it. And then to find that and to bang out at the end of the day, the work plan and the schedule of what's going to be done, and which has to be then eventually turned into a budget. And that's where we're happy to assist the whole process. We're very happy and proud of our successes in recent months. We've been able to connect SMEs and even large companies in both sides of the Mediterranean to opportunities, whether it's been Horizon Europe calls or other opportunities to set up consortiums and to really achieve to enable the clients to achieve a lot of value within that. So any questions? We're here.
A question about the submission. Is it like usually in the European project, they have a single stage, two stage. How does it goes in terms of the submission, and what is the volume of such a submission?
So the submission is a single stage, but it has two, for the Israeli company at least, there are two documents. Both partners work together and submit separately the joint R&D program document, okay? It's a 15-page document plus minus. There's the template. It's in English with the place at the end for both sides to sign. You have to add on in a very, very simple MOU in very simple words that you intend to collaborate together. But at the end, that is where you're talking about the technology and you're talking about, you present down the R&D and the various deliverables or milestones that are to achieve. That's one thing. And then based upon that material, you take that and you can cut and paste more or less most of it or all of it into the general IIA Hebrew document that you're familiar with, and including the IIA Excel budget, and submit that, all those documents. The Israeli entity will take the English bilateral submission or joint submission and the IIA documents that are required, and through the IIA platform, you will submit them there as a regular IIA submission by the deadline that's set for the Israeli companies. So that is the amount. So it is a little bit more complex. You have the additional documents to do, but from my experience, you take most of it and cut and paste it from the English document that you've already had. You might have to add some more, a few more paragraphs based upon what the IIA wants, but that's what is required. One last note, again, as this is at the end, the funding is IIA for the Israeli entities getting the funding. It's like all IIA funding, and it comes with the requirement for royalties. So this is not Horizon funding that is no royalties. This is not European funding. This is Israeli funding, but it's enabling you to achieve collaboration.
Thank you. And one more question, if I can, about the IP. I know that the IIA usually have very strict rules about the IP, and I see that there is a very different roles of the Israeli company and the Italian company in terms of its characteristic. So how does it affect the IP? Does the IIA have any say or want something very specific, or it's something that depended only on the contract and the agreement with both sides?
So at the end, a good question. At the end, you have your IP that you have developed, and that you come in with that's yours. At the end, any joint IP that will be developed will be taken care of in the framework agreement that you reach with your partner. But at the end, this is where it's two projects separately that are finding together something of importance. So therefore, I know I'm not answering very clearly, but your IP stays with you, and that you'll be presenting in your submission based upon the joint submission what you are developing, and that will be included in the royalties. And when you list it at the end, what we'll be paying royalties for, and the Italian entity will have his IP, and you'll be able to use whatever agreement you have with them in order to use that. But that's already his, and you're using that to include to sell your IP. So you will define that, but you keep it separate.
Thank you.
Another point, just to point out here, this is not, and as Paolo was presented in the slides, this is not limited to SMEs. So therefore, this is an opportunity for SMEs who want to collaborate with large companies. Both of us are in touch with a large network of entities in each one in his different country. So therefore, if this is something also that might be relevant, if there's an SME and can see how there's relevance of collaborating with a large industrial company that enables to embellish and to improve the technology, add on certain things, and also help it go to market. This is a very good opportunity for that. So it's not just two SMEs working together, but this could be an SME working with a large company and therefore really achieving go to market.
I have a question, if possible.
Please.
Yeah, could I ask if so it is written that should be balanced, the budget. But for example, if there is a situation in which there is a big company in one country and a small company in the other country, maybe the budget will not maybe really balanced.
So Emilio, if I may answer this, it's not. There are some frameworks where they are which I'm familiar, at least from the Israeli side, where they say, you know, it should be you should not be any different than 51%, 49%. Here, this is not the case. There is no definition of 52% or 48%. What they want, and obviously we will check this out again with the NCPs for each case in particular, but they don't want a situation where you have an Italian company doing 80% of the money and an Israeli company just doing some little work. They want really a collaboration, and that's what's important. So there's nothing here written down in words regarding the amount, but it should be a real collaboration and bringing value to both sides.
Yes.
Okay.
The focus is not on the dimension of the companies, but is rather on the projects. Okay.
Yeah.
So it should be balanced considering the type of project, not kind of company.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So again, I mean, we really do have this capability, and we have done it. Our clients have reached out to us and said, okay, I'm looking for a company in this area. We're able to, based upon our successes, we are able to talk. So this is not empty words. Obviously, we can't guarantee 100%, but at the end, we do have our networks. So this is something where in the networking framework that Paolo mentioned, and also otherwise individually, we're very, very willing and able to give a real effort in putting you together with a relevant partner, whether you're both here now, or everyone is here now, or whether you are somewhere else and they're not here. We're really able to do that. We are right now discussing with a large Italian industrial entity, for example, with some Israeli SMEs. So this is something which is doing and is going on and is happening. So we'll be more than happy to also assist in that area. Oh.
Josh, can you stay after this meeting after everybody leaves, and maybe we can chat in Hebrew instead of boring everybody?
I'm going to send you. I just sent you LinkedIn, and I'll send you.
Okay.
You should get from your CEO my phone number, and you can call me up right away.
Sure,
okay?
I will do that.
Okay, if there are not any further questions, so thank you for your attention, because at least in Italy it's lunchtime, so my thanks go to Italian attendants that they had to delay the lunchtime. And anyway, you will receive after the end of the workshop the link that I already shared with you to share some opportunity. Consider also not just linked to this kind of opportunity, but also for further opportunities, because as Josh told you, we are continuously monitoring not just the call, but also collaboration opportunities, because we are working in a quite wide network. So it happens quite often that we receive some request for partnership agreement. Okay, so thank you again, everybody. So you can reach us via email. Let me share the really last page. Okay, you can reach us. These are our contact details, so through our website, email address. And for any kind of question, do not hesitate to write us back. So we are keen to provide you with any kind of further information. Okay.
Thank you very much, guys, for your time and knowledge.
Okay. Thank you too for your attention and keep in touch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
צבי, מאיזה חברה אתה? אנחנו כבר נשארנו רק אני ואתה גם ככה.
חברת קריאטרה.
איזה?
קריאטרה.
קריאטרה? מה אתם עושים?
מה שאתה רואה מאחוריי זה בעצם עריכים אקולוגיים, אנחנו מייצרים מוצרים אקולוגיים בלי צמנט, בלי דבקים סינתטיים, עם תכונות שוות ערך לבטון ואפילו יותר מזה. יש לנו קולקציה כמו שאתה רואה של עריכים דקורטיביים.